So yeah, so I first started writing. Well, the first song I wrote was in 8th grade, as I was saying part of this guitar class that I took. And the guitar class also, part of it was learning keyboard, piano. There was like big room. Half of the room was chairs where we with little music stands we could for guitar, and some of it we would listen to music that she would play, records, and then we would learn songs out of this songbook on guitar, like songs I've never heard of before, like with a CC Rider and Tom Dooley. Hang out, yeah, Tom Dooley, those kind of songs. The Saints Come Marching In, I heard that. I think they had some Beatles songs, maybe like Submarine in Hour 1 of 64 or something like that. They had like all these kind of standards, we learned those, basic chords kind of stuff, G, D, A kind of stuff. So I was learning that stuff, and then and then we also that year we also learned a little piano, because they had about 20 pianos in the other room, uprights, a whole bunch of rows of them. So we all had a piano to ourselves, and we learned a little bit of keyboard as well, which is cool. So at that same time, I was starting to get into the Beatles. I started to listen for my first Beatle record in 8th grade. So it was like, so I was listening to the Beatles and starting to like the Beatles a lot. And I was also learning guitar, so I was like, oh, and every time I listened to like the Beatles, I kept thinking, well, maybe I'll try to play it on guitar. So I started to put a correlation between me learning guitar and playing some of these songs that I was starting to like. And so I did that, and then I just kept going with it. And then all of a sudden, I really love Sgt. Pepper, and I just thought, it would be really cool to like write songs just like that. That's good, and just kind of create a world full of great songs. So I started to write more and more songs, and so that's how I just kept going with the songs. And so I started to learn guitar more, learn more chords, and then learn songs, to write songs, and then initially when I first started writing songs, it was like about silly things, just kind of things around school. I was like in 9th grade when I started to like really start to write. I started to write lyrics first, just kind of lyrics, and then I thought, okay, eventually I'll learn guitar better, and I put chords on these songs, and so I just accumulated all these lyrics, and so but most of the lyrics I just kind of threw away. I didn't really use any of them except for a couple songs. A song called Face Value, I kind of kept that around, and some other ones. Not very many, but then I just started to keep writing stuff, and that's kind of. But then I started to get into certain bands. The Beatles were starting to really influence my music then. And then I started buying some of the McCartney solo stuff and other solo stuff, John Lennon solo stuff. I started to love that just as much as I do the Beatles stuff, and so I started listening to that. And I started getting into other bands like Elvis Costello, whose lyrics, was a big influence. Especially the wordplay. I love that. And also, he's very good at writing those catchy kind of songs. Him. And then also another person I started listening to in high school on the same time was Sting. The Police stuff and the solo stuff. I listened to it all. Freedom of the Blue Turtles and Nothing Like the Sun. I started listening to a lot of that, just over and over, just listening to him. And that's the thing. That's an influence. I liked about Sting. The biggest influence on him was he was very political, but he put political messages in his songs, but he wasn't like social commentary kind of songs. But he wasn't like, but he made it all pretty, so you didn't really, it was like he's telling a story. He's trying to say something about the world, but he says it all pretty, like, so you don't really, so it doesn't put you off too much. So you're more willing to listen to it, or what he's trying to say. And so him, he was a big influence. And then you got Roger Waters from the Pink Floyd stuff, especially like Animals. That was a very influential album. Animals, and I like that all sheep, dogs, pigs kind of analogy. 1984. Was it Animal Farm? Animal Farm kind of analogy. Kind of thing. But yeah, that and Wish We and The Wall, those kind of things about the way people are toward each other and the way they feel inside and all. That was a big influence. And then you got I listened to him a lot. Then I started getting into other bands like so I listened to Elton John and Billy Joel. I used to do them all for just for melody and just song structure. Brilliant guys. Let's see who else. And then of course, let's see who else. And then I started getting into other, like Jimi Hendrix. I love his guitar playing. It's just kind of, I can't play like him, but you got kind of a, just start loving that. And then of course, I think everything we listen to kind of creeps into what we write. Especially if you're a musician, everything. You kind of get ideas of what's possible from listening to others. But Jimmy was an influence, I'm sure. And let's see who else there. Jimmy and The Who. I like the, Who's Next and that kind of stuff. Who's Next and Tommy. Tommy's a great album. Quadrophenia. And then, who else? In high school, when I really get into Genesis, listen to Genesis. Visible Touch. Visible Touch album is a very good album. That's it. People always go, well, the best, just like, I don't know, Abacab's good too. But, the Jethro Tull, there. Takes a Break, Aqualung albums, Songs from the Wood, War Child, those albums are great. I love those albums. Well, Led Zeppelin, of course. House of the Holy Ghost, the first album I ever got from Led Zeppelin. That was in high school. I got it on vinyl and it's all scratched up, but because Over the Hills and Far Away, that was probably one of my first favorite Led Zeppelin songs. So yeah, but that's still a great album. Physical Graffiti, that's a great album. Of course, it's all great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Presence into the outdoor. So and Yes is a band that I like a lot, especially for the progressive rock. Yes, it's not like Jethro Tull. They were like progressive rock early on, kind of like Rush. Rush is a good band as well. And then I remember when I was, later teen years, started getting into Steely Dan and Steely Dan and Bowie and then of course Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots. They were kind of big. It's like I was really starting to write songs already. I started to do things with music, and then Pearl Jam came out and Stone Temple Pilots. I think out of all the grunge rock, those are probably my two favorite bands. So yeah.